right, good morning, everyone. Morning. So I hope everyone enjoyed their free time last night, whether you did a ballpark tour or you walked around the city. My name is Sharon Rivet, and I am a 5-year WM patient. And I live in upstate New York, where I teach yoga, hike, fish, and ride roller coasters with my grandkids. But like many of us in this room and what I've heard all throughout the conferences, many of us suffer from fatigue. So I'm very excited that Cathy will be talking to us about fatigue. Cathy Skinner is the CEO of The Art of Well. She is an entrepreneur with 20 years in the health and wellness industry, and she holds multiple certifications, including a unique certification from the American College of Sports Medicine in cancer exercise specialists. She's also certified in physical activity for lymphedema, personal training through the National Academy of Sports Medicine, and she's certified for kettlebells, Pilates, functional movement, that's just to name a few. Cathy launched her third oncology-focused startup called NextGenPort.com, which addresses the unmet needs of cancer care by remotely monitoring changes in patients' health between chemo treatments. And a fun fact is Cathy spent 10 years coaching women's volleyball at Fordham, Princeton, and Augsburg. So now Cathy will discuss cancer-related fatigue and its impact on our quality of life. Cathy, thank you.
Thank you, Sharon, and good morning to everyone. Really happy to be here. I traveled from St. Paul, Minnesota, where I've been living for the last 20 years, but I still call the San Francisco Bay Area my home. And I was pleased to spend time with some of the cohort yesterday doing the Busch Stadium tour and able to meet a few folks along the way. And I've been told many times from folks that I'm meeting here and from physicians I had breakfast with this morning that your organization is unique. And I can see that by the way you spend time together, your commitment to learning, your commitment to each other. So thank you for the privilege of being a part of your organization this weekend. The disease, WF, was new to me, and I did have to look it up, but the more I read about it, the more I understood that it's not far from my heart. My dad was diagnosed with multiple myeloma over 25 years ago. Sadly, he passed away. The treatments weren't as robust as they are now, but his cancer diagnosis set me on a course to do the entrepreneurial work that Sharon described. First as a cancer exercise specialist, where I've had the privilege of working with over 400 cancer patients face-to-face, men, women, early stage, late stage, in treatment, post-treatment, all kind of cancer diagnosis, and they were my best teachers. So they were sharing their journey, their ups, their downs, what cancer did to their bodies during and after treatment, how it affected their finance, how it affected their families. And so I had a privileged position of being able to listen to cancer patients share their story with each other. Imagine in the midst of an exercise class, I fade to the background and people are telling their stories about surgeons and medications and side effects. And then moving from cancer exercise in 2004 into technology-based work about 10 years later, I launched a second company that took cancer exercise and cancer nutrition and put it in an app. And so that was a way for people to access the tools that they needed. And much like your fearless leader of this event, what's her name? Sarah. Much like Sarah has worked her tail off to make sure that this is streaming, that it's going to be recorded, that it's available for others. So leveraging the beauty of technology so that this educational resources from what you're going to share with me and I'll share with you is going to be saved for others and can have a broader impact. So I believe in the value of technology and how that's going to impact the cancer journey. And then as Sharon shared, the third company I'm working with is taking a chemotherapy port, putting sensors in it and making it smart. And I know an implanted chemoport isn't part of your cancer treatment journey, but it is for other cancers such as breast cancer and other cancers that use infusion therapies over a long period of time and need an implanted device. Well, the port's been dumb for a long time, and our company is working to make it smart so that patients can have their blood cell counts and their heart function and their vitals measured while they're at home, so they're not tethered to the lab and they don't have to go to clinic all the time. And when they do go to the clinic, then it's to see their oncologist and the infusion nurse and the warm community that supports them, but not all the time for labs. So that's a bit about my history. Really started with my father's own journey and how that impacted my career course and the opportunity to work with cancer patients, work with technology, and then start to build out medical devices. But let's turn today to how this would impact you. And so I want to spend some time talking about the benefits of physical activity, how to start an exercise program at home, and how to create a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. So I'm not here to tell you to go join a gym. And I was like, whew, excellent. But I would like to know from 2 or 3 people in the audience, what is your present level of activity? What are you doing for exercise? If I could have 2 or 3 people share their experience. Yes, ma'am?
I do yoga.
Yoga in a chair or not in a chair?
Chair and then some standing, but no floor.
Gotcha. Thank you. Sir?
Pilates. I did do yoga, but I found it too difficult. So I do Pilates. Cycle, as you probably heard yesterday. And I do a lot of walking. So I'm very fortunate I can do a lot of stuff.
Fantastic. And one more? Yes, sir?
I just walk. I try to walk 4 to 5 miles a day.
Excellent. Okay, you are all poster children. Well done, well done. And so, as I share different ideas today, we're going to be focused on doing some exercises that you can do at home with resources right in front of you. The research-based protocol that I learned from a woman named Catherine Schmitz, who's currently at the University of Pittsburgh, is that if we build muscle mass, then that'll strengthen the joints, that'll provide access to balance, and then your whole world will open up in terms of being able to walk more, cycle more, grocery shop more, whatever the more is in your life. If we can build the muscle mass, that creates this connectivity in the joints and the balance access. So the reason you have beverages in front of you is not to drink the water or the soda that I presented, but we're going to, if you're willing, do a few exercises using those as props. And they're going to mimic weights. And if you don't want to do them, the folks up front might want to who don't have the hand weights, or we could do it with weight-free. So anyone who's streaming or watching at home, grab a couple bottles of water or a couple cans of Coke or whatever. Actually, you shouldn't have Coke in your home. But shh, shh. Everyone in the South is like, oh, I can't do that. All right. So some of the things, the reasons that I just shared why we would do this is to improve balance, build muscle, treat cancer-related heart health issues, chemo-related bone health issues, better blood flow, self-esteem, deal with anxiety and depression by getting some of those ancillary hormones moving in the body. Improve your social life. That could be fun, right? Address fatigue, weight maintenance. So some people need to gain weight. Some people need to manage their weight. Quality of life. And then for some cancers, physical activity, because of its intersection with hormones and insulin, can actually mitigate or manage recurrence. I don't know how that applies for this diagnosis, so I won't go there. But there are some cancers that are influenced, and I should say influenced, not guaranteed, but influenced by physical activity. So before you get started with physical activity, here's the disclaimer around medical clearance. Maybe you have vascular motor systems where you're running too hot or running too cold. We all know about COVID and infections and whether you should or should not be in a public facility. One of the things about fatigue is, do you know what time of day you have the most energy? Some people it'll be in the morning, some people it'll be in the afternoon, some people will be in the evening. And so if you start to think about when you have the most energy, what are you going to do at that time? And you're so cute. Why are you laughing? Yes.
I just said to my husband, he doesn't have a time of day, but he has a lot of energy.
Oh. Well, second that emotion. Beautiful. Beautiful. So that might be a fair statement. But what I would encourage you to do is take a week and just be a little more observant. And then even, I don't know if you keep notes in your phone or you have a calendar on your desktop, but you could just, if you see him, like take out the trash. It's like, oh my God, there's energy right there.
He does go to the gym almost every day.
Oh.
But sometimes it's an effort to get there.
But what does he do when he's there?
He does the treadmill and he does the elliptical
Oh.
for about 20 minutes. And
Yeah.
I can go to the gym, but then if I come home and I'm reading something, I'll fall asleep and I'll hard to say.
Sure.
If I'm watching TV and I'm not really excited about it, I'll fall asleep.
Yeah, understood. Yeah.
I have the funny thing of, we have a yoga at 5 o'clock, so it's before supper.
Yes.
And I almost invariably will fall asleep in the beginning of the yoga when she hasn't breathing and learn about it. And there are times that you look at me, everybody's looking at me, and I don't even know.
Yeah. You're the guy who snores in class. We know you. We know you. We know you well. So, solution, start the class standing. Everyone else is lying down, but you, my friend, you can stand and breathe, and you can do it all. Don't lie down. Of course you don't. Well, then maybe every other day, start the class standing. Okay. Thank you all for that. Is neuropathy an issue that anyone is dealing with? 1, 2? Okay. So you're more at risk for falls. You need to, neuropathy, hands or feet or both? Feet, yeah.
Foot.
Foot? Ooh,
I destroyed my foot 4 years ago on a fall.
ouch,
I had multiple surgeries to my foot and my lower spine.
ouch. So you have to be careful not to fall again.
It took me 6 months to learn how to walk again.
Yeah. How do you like swimming? Is that a good option for you?
I haven't tried it yet. I'd like to go scuba diving again, but
Yeah, can we get you just, have you, and I'm going to do, this is going to be my style, right? So we'll have conversations, I'll have ideas, you can take them or leave them. One option for you might be finding a pool where you have waist-high water, and you walk.
we have a river walk.
Oh,
I do that,
Yeah,
and I've been trying, because I think that would be good for
fantastic.
once winter breaks.
Oh, well, there's that. But see, but the pool's accessible 24/7.
Okay, thank you. I will do that. I will.
Okay, we got witnesses. He said he's going to do it. Follow up with him.
I'm writing it down. Okay, if I write it
Oh, look, he's making a commitment. Fantastic. That's half of exercise, by the way, right? Is pre-contemplative, contemplative, active, and taking steps to move forward.
Pool, it's on there.
Woo! Well done. And this lovely lady to your left is going to make sure you do it. He's like, oh, because we're not going home with you, so someone's got to follow up.
A young bride of 31 years.
Oh, that's lovely. Okay, so lymphedema is not a concern. Physical activity with a buddy or on your own, right? Some people need accountability. They need someone to make sure they show up and get their tush out of bed and make a commitment. And I think it's, I'll do a little gender bias. I think it's easier for women to find community and have that accountability. But I think men, when they do take that step and find a workout partner, they just thrive with that sense of camaraderie. I don't know if you cycle with a bunch of guys or you're on your own, but men need friends too. And really stepping across that barrier of thinking you can do it all yourself. You can, but it's a lot more fun with another person. And
It's a lot more fun when you go to Pilates and you're the only man there.
oh, okay. So the fact of the matter is you become the eye candy. So Pilates is fantastic, especially if you need to rehab from an injury. There's this thing called the reformer. Look at it online. Don't get scared, but because it looks a little bit like a rack with springs, but it's a beautiful rehabilitative exercise protocol, and I've used that for years and years and years with cancer patients, and it was a very great way for them to be safe, to build strength, to build flexibility, and also to get reconnected to their bodies in a way that's a bit more logical and linear than yoga. I'm a new fan of yoga, but I'm finding that yoga has a pathway, but it's a little more organic. And Pilates, if you're a logical type person, it's very linear, and it builds on itself in a very logical way. So that's kind of back to, how do you think? How do you learn? How do you experience your life? Is it more organic? Is it more linear? Because there are opportunities to do different types of training in that way based on who you are. So take a moment to think about, how have you shown up in your professional life and your personal life, and how would that impact how integrating, well, thank you, physical activity to build on the physical activity. And I'm thinking specifically about the walkers. Walking is great, but you'll need to add more challenge and more diversity to your experience. In other words, maybe some strength training, or instead of walking your same path, you do a path with stairs. Something that adds some freshness to your routine so that your body can try something new. So, yes, sir.
Just a comment really on group against individual. What I find with, I go to a Pilates class on a Sunday, but the rest of the week I can do it on my own. And
Yeah.
At least you know you're doing it correctly. You're just being with the teacher on a Sunday. So sometimes you start doing exercises and you might be doing them correctly. So
Yeah.
it mixes the both together.
And so are you doing mat Pilates then?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then the beautiful thing about mat Pilates and yoga, you can take it with you. You could do that in the hotel room. You don't need any equipment. So that's a beautiful thing. And you can even do it for 3 minutes and still get some benefits. All right, so here's the choice part of the presentation, where you can choose to opt in or choose to not opt in. So I'm going to be going through a couple exercises and give you some helpful tips on how to refine them. Because this is being streamed, I won't be able to really step away from the microphone too far, so I might have someone be my demo person. So I'm going to invite you, if you wish, to try this seated twist exercise. Oh, look at you, you're brave, coming up to the front. Oh, the chair's broken. I thought you loved me, but no, it was the chair. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you wish, again, free will, free choice. Can you still see me? Are you going to be my demo? Love it, Sharon. Okay, so like Sharon, sit at the front edge of your chair. And Sharon, can I have permission to put my hands on you if needed? Okay, so you're going to sit at the front edge of your chair, feet are flat, posture's nice and tall, and go ahead and roll your shoulders a little bit because we don't need them. And everybody holds their tension up here. So, all right, what you're going to do is you're going to take your eyes and your nose and you're going to look over your right shoulder and you're going to use your left hand to kind of twist. And you can even grab your chair. And UK guy, drop your shoulders. What's your name, sir? Bob. Bob, drop your shoulders. Thank you, sir. All right, so, and people, feel free to breathe. Yeah. So twist and breathe, and then gently release and twist to the other side. Carl, do you have any impairments in your spine? Probably. Fair enough. Yes. So then don't twist, sir. You're gonna bend, okay? And so everyone needs to take a slight breath in, and then let your shoulders go, and then twist a smidge further. And this is gentle stuff. And then twist the other way. And try to keep your, the reason you're seated, which is a good idea, is your hips stay and your spine and your ribs go. And then one more to the other side, please. And you, as you do this gently, you should be able to twist a little bit further each time. Excellent. And this will also be a means of releasing tension. So I'm not going to ask anyone to get on the floor, but I did want to point this exercise out. And if you can't get up and down off the floor, you can do this on a couch or on a firm bed. And you, in front of you, have handouts. So all the exercises are documented in your handout. And so you can take notes, but all the written content, all the exercises are here. The reason I wanted to bring this particular one forward is some people have bad knees. And if you have bad knees, she's laughing, if you have bad knees, it makes it very difficult to do another exercise we're going to do down the road here called squats. But this particular exercise gets at the same muscle group, which is the back of the legs, and your glutes, your backside, and your hamstrings. So it's a way to work a large muscle group in a safe way that doesn't irritate your knees. And the dark black or dark brown piece is actually a resistance band that goes all the way around your legs. So think about you're pressing out gently, your legs are going out and your hips are going up and your brain is really working. You had a question?
Yeah, so you've got this as a bunch of reps, up and down, up and down, up and down.
Correct.
Contrast that with maybe just holding it for 25 seconds?
All good. Holding it for, so isometric hold, beautiful thing. Repetitions of moving up, but kind of a 2 counts up, 2 counts down. So not fast. The other helpful tip is you might not feel this on the back of your legs or your back side. So what I would ask you to do if you were in a class with me, I'd ask you to gently lift your toes just a smidge because you want to shift the weight in the heels. And if you shift the weight in the heels, that activates all the muscles on the back line of your body. So another helpful tip. And in case you weren't understanding that band, so if you put the band around your legs and you move out with your legs, and then your hips are going up and down. So it's pressure out as well as lifting. It creates a beautiful link and stabilization in your hips. So, and it helps your brain connect. Yes? Yeah, they're different. They're different. One that you'll use is the best one to get. Well, and for they come in packs of 3. You can get it on Amazon. It's less than $10. They're not expensive, and it's not so much the weight of the band for this particular exercise, but it's the neurological connection of pressing out with the legs and pressing up with the hips concurrently to give a whole connective piece to your hips and activate the right muscles. Because a lot of us are quad heavy, which means the front of your legs are doing a ton of the work, and the back of your legs, they're not working at all. So we're trying to reignite that with teaching your brain to go out and teaching your brain to go up. It's not weird. It's really here that you're activating for those muscles. So here's another exercise that is upper body. And part of the method to my madness, and you'll see in the exercise packet in front of you, is I do lower body and then upper body, and then lower body and then upper body. And the reason I do that is I like to see 2 sets, but I'd ask you to do a lower body exercise and then an upper body, and then revisit the lower body and then the upper body, and you got 2 sets of 2 exercises, whoop, done. And then you go on to the next. It's efficient, but yet it gives the muscle groups time to rest and recover. So that's part of my strategy. Because if you're going to show up and do the work, like, let's get it done, and then move on with your day. And don't sit on the couch and fall asleep for the rest of the day. So we'll get there. All right, so again, sit to the front edge of your chair if you'd be so kind. And what we're looking at is another, again, tall posture. And we're trying to get to the muscles in the upper body, so the chest. This particular exercise, I put a band around the back, and you can press out and then pull in. And you can have those elbows wide, like chicken wings. Be nice to your neighbor. And then press long. So do this. If you press long and you raise your shoulders by your ears, now drop them. That's where we want to be. And so you'll have the resistance to push out, and the resistance to come back. So it's a 2 count out and 2 count back. Now you can add, if you are feeling stronger, you can do the same movement standing. So you can make it more simple by seated. You can make it more challenging by standing. Don't go anywhere. Okay. All right, so I had mentioned, yes, sir?
Can I add something?
Yes, please.
If you feel like your band is not very strong and you want to make it stronger, just grab it closer towards the center.
Yes.
It makes it a lot stronger.
Correct.
You don't have to buy 15 of these, like,
Correct.
guitar bands and all these.
Correct.
Just about 3 or 4 different ones.
Yeah,
And like I said, if you want to make it stronger, you grab it closer to the center.
exactly, exactly. Thank you for that. Nice. So I had mentioned an exercise called a squat that could be difficult for some people who have knee issues. So do you have knee issues, Sharon? Whew, awesome. All right, so I'm going to have Sharon stand a little bit, just a half inch away from the chair. She's going to look long out that back door. And what I'm going to ask her to do is push her hips back like she's skiing down a hill. Oh, look at her beautiful hands. That's exactly right. No, it's exactly right. And then go ahead and stand on up. And so I'll ask Sharon to do a little bit different with your hands, palms up. And when your hips go back, your arms go forward, keeping the palms up. So press the hips back, and then stand up. And I'm also going to ask Sharon this time to make sure that her weight is shifted in her heels, and she knows that because she's going to gently tap her toes, then put her feet back down, and then she's going to press her hips back as hands come forward, and then come on up. And then I'm going to ask her to do it one more time, but not extend out of the shoulder blades. So look at this beautiful body awareness. She's crushing it, and then come on up. Now, if you'd like to try this with Sharon, feel free to stand. If you're like, nope, not for me, totally fine. So a couple helpful tips. Athletic stance, feet about hip width apart. Tap those toes so that you know you're in your heels. All right, and you're going to keep your chin and chest lifted. Look long past me, past Sharon, because that helps keep your spine in the right position. You're going to press those hips back like you're Lindsey Vonn skiing down a hill, and your hands are going to come forward. Palms up, please. Oh, very nice, Mary Jane. And then come on up. And when you come back up, your hands come in. So think about your hands and your hips as counterbalance. So press those hips back, weight through the heels, and Dana, press those hips back. Aha, you stick your backside out, and then come on up. So if you're feeling your front of your legs working, that means the back of your legs are asleep. So one more time, you're going to tap those toes, weight goes through the heels, stick your backside out, hands come forward. Now squeeze your backside and lift with that. So for women, I can't say this in public streaming, but just squeeze your backside. It's all good. So thank you for trying that. I appreciate it.
One thing that we do to get up is don't touch your chair.
Oh,
This, and then
Linda's super skilled. Yep. So, and then Linda, instead of extending through here and kind of rounding through your thoracic spine, make sure your shoulder blades are packed in. And that way, keeping that chin up and looking long. Because the minute I drop my eyes, look what happens to everything else, right? And
we're usually told, look at something else.
yes, exactly, through the horizon. And it just kind of gives you the body mechanics you need to stay in the right position. Guys are doing great. Okay, so here's an exercise that you can do standing or seated. And here's where you get to take your props for the first time. So grab one water bottle or beverage can. You can be standing or seated, your choice. And these are shoulder raises front, and we're also going to do them shoulder raises side. Okay, now Sharon's just showing off. Thank you. Fair enough. All right, so nice athletic stance. We're going to put those shoulders back in their sockets, and with one hand, palm down with your prop. You look like a commercial. Like I'm a Coke commercial. And you're going to raise straight and then lower it down. And if you have pain, rotate your hand a smidge and try again, because we don't want any pain in the shoulder. And you only want to go about shoulder height. So you're going to raise high and then down. Now, you can,
Don't open your soda can.
that's why I said, I was like, that's why I told people don't drink it when I was handing it to them. They're like, sweet. Okay, so then bring the weight down, please, and then make sure you don't hit your neighbor, but you're going to go raise to the side. Palm stays down, and Dana just about there. Yep, not too high, Mary Jane. And if you have an impairment, don't use the can. You can use body weight. And that's a beautiful thing in and of itself, right? Yes, sir. Vincent.
Vincent, yes, the chiropractor.
Oh,
The empty milk jugs that you have, either the quarts or the gallons.
yeah.
they're
Switch
very-
hands, please.
They're variable. You can put water in it. You
Yes.
can put sand in it.
There you
can
go.
do half full, you can do completely
Yes.
full. They're wonderful things.
Exactly, and they're totally free. That's the I like free stuff. I like free stuff. So, and then if you try forward, and some people you might have an impairment or it might feel kind of funny forward, and maybe you prefer side. But it's all about strengthening a teeny tiny muscle group in your shoulder, doing a variety of exercises, and you don't need a lot of weight. You don't need a ton of repetitions, and you guys look beautiful. Thank you for that. So go ahead and set the cans down and stay standing if you're willing, because we got something kind of challenging here. So push your chairs in, please, and come to the back of your chair. So although this slide says forward lunge, I'm going to ask you to start with rear lunge first, because it allows you to be more in alignment and it has less strain on your knee. So if you have knee issues, we're going to take a pass on this. And I'm going to ask you to go parallel to your chair. So you're using your chair essentially as a balance beam or a balance prop. So either face that wall or that wall, pick your wall. And what I'm going to ask you to do is, let's say you have your right hand on the chair. You're going to reach back with your right leg. And so you'll reach back with your right leg, and you're going to bend both knees and then squeeze your hamstring on that front leg and come on up. Yep, and then reach that same leg back, bend both knees, keeping the shoulders over the hips, and then come on up. Helpful tip here, the leg that's in the front, tap that toe, make sure weight's in the heel of that front foot. Now go back, keeping the weight in the heel of that front foot. Step up tall. Nice. Now do a 180. Put the other hand and move the other leg, please. So step back, bend both knees, keep shoulders over the hips, look long, and then come up tall. Tap that front toe, make sure weight's in the heel, press back and reach. Oh my gosh, you guys look amazing. And then come together, and you got one more for good measure. Press back, and then come together. Fantastic. So a couple things. The reason I had you hang on and then move that other leg, it's good biomechanics from balanced across the body to the diagonal. Maybe you're strong enough, you don't need the chair. You could put hands on the hips. Maybe you're super strong and you can hold weight in your hands. And you can do a lunge with weight in your hand and increase the effort. Now the forward lunge is similar, but you step forward, and if you have knee problems, it's hard for people to not push through the toe, because when you step forward, you should really push through that heel and come back, because you're really looking, again, for hamstrings and glutes. So if you want to try, you're welcome to. I would encourage you to hang onto the chair again, and then you step forward. So if right hand's on the chair, right foot steps forward, bend that knee, and then press back through the heel. Sharon's rock star, and then come on back. And helpful tip, you can use a little speed. So you step forward, you bend the knee, and whoop, pop back. So it's not slow back, it's oh, very good, Dana. Yep, you got it.
Should your knee touch the floor?
Yours does, because you're kind of amazing. But if your knee can touch the floor, it's not and so Steve, I would go a wider base. In other words, I would step longer. There you go. Yep. There it is. And you guys look great, so thank you for that. Okay, so we're moving right along here. Grab two props if you can for this. So we're working on a large muscle group in the upper back called, and we're with the exercise called the upright row. And there's a lot of variations. There's a bent over row, there's a fly row, and we're doing the upright row. So slight bend, more narrow stance for this one. Slight bend in the knees. I call belly button to spine. Palms facing the quads or the tops of the legs. And then bring the shoulder blades together and float the elbows up. So Dana, instead of shoulders to the ears, think about shoulder blades together. So you're going to be squeezing those shoulder blades. Ooh, prop. Psh, psh. So squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then the elbows float up in response. Ooh, very nice, Bob. Yep, so you're keeping those shoulders down. You're moving into the upper back muscles. You're such a good prop. And then, yep, and think about this moves first. The arms come in response. Well, that's good, Janet. And then, Dana, instead of crunching the weights at the top with your wrists, let the weights hang down. So everything's really happening in the upper back and the shoulders. So we're not coming up here and crunching the weight. You guys look great. All right, props down, please. And we're really cooking now. I hope you're sweating. Hold on to the back of your chair. Nice tall posture. And if you don't need the chair for balance, you don't have to hang on to it, but use it as like a light ballet bar. Tall posture, look long. And you're going to reach one leg back with toes facing forward. And so that will activate the hamstring. So Steve, go ahead and lift the leg all the way up behind you. And then you'll feel the back of the leg and the back side. Janet's like, and y'all are going to walk funny tomorrow, I know, because you'll have a couple sore hamstrings. So go ahead and stay super tall in your posture. Here's the secret, right? Posture here, shoulders down. So lift through the sternum and your core. Arlene, you look so elegant. That's great. And so you're actually strengthening, again, hamstrings, glutes. Now here's some lovely variations. Same leg, raise it to the side. And keep the toes facing forward, because if you rotate the toes, then you're getting to your quads. We use them all the time anyway. So use the side muscles of the leg. Nice. And then switch. So rear leg raises with the other leg. Feel those hamstrings, the back of the leg talking to you. And then do a couple to the side. Raise to the side, keeping those toes facing forward, so you're getting all the muscles along the hip and the side of the leg. Awesome. So here's a variation on a theme. So bicep curls are very common. You can take your two props and you can do bicep curls seated, standing. There's a bunch of different ways you can turn your hands. If you are feeling strong and you want to challenge yourself in a new way, so Tina, reverse the hands so that the palms are up. There you go. If you're feeling strong and you want to challenge yourself in a new way, you can do these bicep curls standing on one foot. Please do not fall over and hit your neighbor. If you have to regain your balance, just put your foot down and then pick it back up. Now, pause for a moment. Switch legs. Stand on the other leg. You may find it's easier on that leg or it's harder. It's different for everybody. But then you're mixing your exercises. And go ahead and pause. Thank you. Props down. The reason I wanted to bring this forward is if you're feeling stronger or you also want to build to the next thing, you can do side raises, front raises, which I shared, standing on one foot. See, there's a progression. You can do chest press with the band, seated, standing, or you can do it on one foot. The point is that there's a lot of room for improvement and building in variation and building in challenges. And you might progress in some exercises and regress in the others, but they're all good. And you can still do them at home and they're still free. So let's wind up with this guy. And holding on to the back of your chair if you need it for balance. Raise up on your tippy toes. And then go into your heels and raise your toes. And then go up on and the people with neuropathy, this might not feel so great. The good thing about this particular exercise, it increases ankle flexion and ankle strength, which will lend itself to limiting falls. You'll have better balance, better stability. And this one's a really good one to do while you're brushing your teeth. I can brush my teeth, or I can stand on one foot and brush my teeth. There's lots of ways to brush your teeth. All right, you guys are great. Thank you. All right, please, thank you for participating, and have a seat. And I'd like to talk about different strategies. If you could take a moment and look at this long list of strategies, anything you would add to this list, things that you've discovered, things that you have heard other people do as a means of improving access to fitness and creating a healthy lifestyle. Sir.
I do have a healthy lifestyle. I exercise every morning, but my problem is, even though I'm watching weight, I feel tired in the afternoon or in the evening. I
Sure.
have trouble staying awake watching TV
Yep.
or even reading. The dial goes off.
Sure.
I can't drive more than an hour
Yeah.
without, I have to take somebody with me because I work with me to Halifax and back without dozing off.
Sure.
How do I deal with that?
And may I ask, how's your sleep at night if you're dozing? Okay,
Well, I do suffer from depression.
understood.
There are other reasons than
Sure.
Waldenstrom's, and I include that.
Okay.
But like this morning, I woke up at 4
Yeah,
and I went to bed at 10 last night after 10.
sure.
But and I do have the app about sleep from University of Dalhousie and Queens, which have a whole study saying to decrease the use of sleeping pills. I used to take antihistamines until I found out that they cause Alzheimer's.
Oh, goodness.
It's not a good idea to use antihistamines for sleep, even though
Sure.
they're over the counter. So I take trazodone, which helps me with my depression,
Understood.
but it lasts only 6 hours.
Yeah. Well, and thank you so much for sharing. I'm sure your experience is common. Vincent.
I wake up at 3 a.m. every morning. My
You should call
my
him.
internal alarm clock between 3 and
Yeah.
10 every single morning.
Right.
It doesn't matter if I go to bed at 9:30 or if I go to bed at 11:30. And yes, I do take a sleep aid.
Yeah,
It doesn't get me through the night.
Sure.
I wait 5 days out of 7.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's not, I don't know if it's Waldenstrom's or not, because
I just realized that our
Yeah.
and it might not be Waldenstrom's because I've been watching weight. So
Yeah.
I don't know when it's, I'm sure depression causes that,
Sure. So, yep.
habits of sleep habits.
How about this? I think, Sharon, the mic's not quite on, but for the audience that's streaming, we're having a conversation about sleep challenges, and then that leads to falling asleep during the day, and then that leads to disruptive sleep at night. And so that's part of the conversation we're having now with the audience. Yes, sir, you wanted to add a comment?
Just that we were talking about strengthening hamstrings.
Yes.
People are walkers. I walk on a path that goes up and down hills.
Yeah.
When you go uphill, walk backwards.
Oh, watch where you're going while you walk backwards. Yes, it's true.
When I did physical therapy, they said,
Yeah.
if you're on a hill, walk up the hill backwards.
Yes. Yes.
Muscles we don't normally do.
Yes, that's a great suggestion. Walk up a hill backwards to strengthen your hamstrings as long as you know where you're. Maybe that's why you should walk with a buddy, because you guys can take turns. Someone goes forward, the other guy goes backward. But so back to the question about sleep. Along with a cancer diagnosis and along with treatments and along with disruption, this other super annoying thing is happening concurrently. Aging. Hello. So sadly, sleep issues are not beholden to just people who have been suffering from a cancer diagnosis. And I think there's a lot of research out there, and there's a lot of apps, and there's a lot of technology that applies to the general population that I think could be extrapolated and tried for you. And so it's difficult to say, do this for sleep, because how sleep shows up in you is going to be how different than sleep shows up at me. And I appreciate you sharing that you understand it's could be another medication, it could be another health condition, it could be other factors. And the fact that falling asleep in the afternoon is kind of a bummer, right? But at the same time, well, thanks for putting that plug. She likes it. She likes afternoon naps, as long as it doesn't. So one option, and well, so she's fortunate. So one option is, if you know you're going to sit down and read a book or watch a show, and you know you're like, I'm going to be out in 20 minutes, well, set your alarm for 20 minutes. So then you have something that gets you up. And so there's leveraging technology as tools to help create more of the life that you want. Especially unless you have someone who's going to be, wake up, sir, yes.
I can't help but think if people are sleepy in St. Louis, at the next forum, they're going to be sleepless in Seattle.
He's here all week, folks. Well done, well done. So yes, that is a challenge. Well, I know we're about 12 more minutes or so. Let's continue with the Q&A.
No, I was just going to say that when we had kids, when women had kids, we would take 15-minute naps during the day.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that helped. So my bedtime at 10 o'clock, when it's 10 o'clock, I'm ready to go to bed.
True.
It doesn't matter what my day's been like, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I wake up at 4 or 5 every day. And
Okay.
I asked the doctor about it 2 weeks ago when I went in, and I asked if it was an illness or is it just aging? And of course he just laughs and says it's probably aging. As long as I got between that 10 and 4 or 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
I had a sound sleep.
Okay.
And you get your 6 hours in or whatever it is, that's
Yeah.
good. So the more you can do during the day and wear yourself out, if you're sleeping sound between that 10 and 4 or 5
Yeah.
o'clock, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah, that's a very
Yeah.
interesting comment. So there are ways to clean up your sleep. So, and again, there's lots of apps, there's lots of research that applies to general population to address fatigue. And so how regular do you go to bed? How regular is it you wake up? How much caffeine are you having during the day? How much screen time do you have before you turn off the lights? Could you take a warm shower or a warm bath? I live in Minnesota, and by the end of the day, I'm so damn cold. I have to take a hot shower, otherwise I won't relax. So, so whatever those strategies are, there's aromatherapy, there's music therapy, there's low lights. There's several things. Again, it's not unique to cancer, but it's unique to the aging process and sleep, cleaning up your sleep. And be pretty frank with yourself and ask, are there ways that you could make adjustments? Bob?
Yeah, I see the slide is about strategy, so I'd just like to share my strategy.
Yes.
And yes, age is a thing. So what I find is that, like most people, we have our lunch, and there's that after lunch sort of thing. And if you give into it, you know, you have a sleep. So I force myself, however I'm feeling, to put on my training gear, and I go for a bike ride. And even if I'm feeling really tired, I'll just go to walk down the end of the road and back, anything just to keep going, and then hopefully have a better night's sleep, because I haven't wasted that time in the afternoon. But it's not for everybody, I know, but it's a strategy that works for me. Yeah.
And
'Cause I force myself to do it.
And so, Bob, self-driven, self-motivated, and maybe that's not you, but you can make an appointment or schedule something with a friend who's going to call you or text to you and talk to you for 30 minutes, or maybe you'll meet someone for a walk post-meal. So there's not just one answer. Sorry about that. But other strategies that you have implemented in your life to add more physical activity or movement. My favorite thing is that all activity counts. So going to the gym doesn't mean you exercised. Vacuuming, mowing the lawn, going to the grocery store, shoveling, the bane of my existence. All of that counts as movement. So don't kick yourself if you're like, oh, I didn't make it to the gym today, but I trimmed the trees in the backyard. It's like, hello, that's exercise. So, and then if you have issues like Vincent, where maybe walking isn't so easy because of neuropathy or post-surgeries, look for other friendlier modes of maybe cycling. Tricycles are totally cool. Electric bikes absolutely count. Think about swimming. Think about Tai Chi, line dancing. What did you do as a kid? Because there's some part of you that used to do tap dancing, right? And you can revisit that. Or a part of you that used to go on a boogie board or snorkel, and think about what did you like doing as a kid, and can you revisit that? Because it'll bring you joy and it'll bring you energy, and you'll have some affinity and connection to it. Yes, Janet?
You used to play tennis, you could play pickleball.
Oh yes, pickleball.
Pickleball.
Pickleball, the most popular sport in the world, where you can still hurt yourself if you're a weekend warrior. So be careful, but super fun, super casual, super accessible. Yes, good word, thank you. Yes? Walk the dog. Oh, yes, okay, so I was thinking about this, walk the dog. I have an even better solution. Walk someone else's damn dog. Seriously, you only have to pick up the poop if you want to, right? And then you don't have to take it to the vet. But how much think about the young family down the street with a couple kids and a dog. How much would it mean to them if you walked up, knocked on their door and said, you know, I'd really like to walk your dog every day at noon.
And the kids, too, in the summer.
Well, you're a bigger person than I am, Janet. But yes, so think about the joy that you would have and the service you would provide to somebody else. And you'd get moving, and then you don't have to own a dog. It's a win-win, I think. So an older person that has a dog, a younger family that needs the help, walking the children, bringing value. Vincent!
But if you don't have the dog, you miss out on having a burglar alarm.
Yeah, but if you don't have a dog, you can go to Florida and Portugal, and you can go to Spain. Oh, don't at me. So other strategies. Or St. Louis. Yes. Ooh, bocce ball, good. There's one other thing that you must maintain, because it's a lost art. This is important. You must maintain the ability to get up off the floor. If you fall, you got to figure out it doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't have to be graceful, but you have to figure out how to do it. And the best way to do that is to carefully put yourself on the floor and then figure out how are you going to get up, because you don't want to lose that skill. Anybody want to demonstrate? Oh, Janet. Let's do 2 for 1. Both of you, show me. Oh, look at Linda. She's so graceful. Looks like a murder scene in here. Shh. Oh, yes, look at Linda. Linda's great. Okay, go. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Oh, and that's beautiful. That's two-handed. Janet's got no hands. Hands on your knee. If you've got good knees, look at that. Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Oh, yes. Put that under your knee. Right. Yeah. And that was a good, so pillow's a good word, under the knee. And these ladies are of superior physical capacity, which is great. And I would have no shame if I had fallen and I needed to crawl to a couch or crawl to a chair and use a prop, but you just have to have that solution in mind. You just have to, and again, doesn't have to be pretty. Nobody else is watching most of the time. And just don't lose the art of that skill. Sir?
Yeah, I'll just comment that we have a friend who fell and lay on the floor for 30 hours until we had a wellness check sent and the EMTs went in
Yeah.
and rescued him.
Yeah, understood. Right. the falling. So keep your phone close. Yeah. Sir?
I would suggest that you always have your phone with you.
Yeah.
Same incident in
Yeah.
our complex, we've had two people that have fallen, until somebody called for a wellness check. They had a phone, but it was sitting on the table, they couldn't get to it.
Yeah. Understood.
Carry your, if you
Yeah.
have a cell phone, carry it with you, because if you fall, you can always call for help.
Well, true. Well, and this brings us, this does a beautiful job of bringing us full circle. So let's work on avoiding falls by building muscle mass, by doing exercises that increase balance and strength in your connective tissue in your joints, heel raises, toe lifts, all those things building toward that. Because I feel like if you have muscle mass and you have strength around your connective tissue in your joints, then you have a whole world that opens up to you. So thank you all for your time today. Really great to have your feedback. Appreciate it. If you have the props, if you'd be so kind, there's a black plastic box at the back of the room on your way out. If you could just pop those, unless you want the beverages, you're welcome to have them. But thank you. Thank you so much. You're amazing.
Well, thank you again, Cathy. This has been really helpful. People are heading out to others, so thank you very much.